This is the Chorebeer Chats podcast with your host, Laurel Eisbart. Okay, I am so excited for this one. Today's guest is a wife, a mom, a craftswoman, and a creativity chaser. She is the definition of organized chaos, which is very relatable. She creates cedar mountain pieces and mosaics. Mosaics? Is this my first time speaking English? Mosaics. And she also plays with chalk art, window painting, and calligraphy. Dani Vonshweetz, everyone. She is the founder and solopreneur of North Soul Studios in Prince George, BC. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. How are you?
Thank you. I'm stoked to be here. I'm living my best life. This is so fun. I'm so grateful to be on this new journey with you.
It is a journey and it is new. And I am also grateful that you are on it with me. You did not give any hesitation when I messaged you like, hey, you wanna be on it? For context, we have met once. We will get into that more later. But yes, so fun. So I wanted to first jump in with the Vonshweetz. We're just gonna get right into that. Now, okay. Is that Dutch? Is it Swedish? Like where is this? Is it your partner's side?
It is.
Tell me more.
It's Disney, actually. It's Disney. I have been asked if it is Dutch or what my background is. It is Disney. It is my creative alter ego. So
I love that.
Yeah, you know what? When I started North Soul Studios, I needed to create a little bit of distance between myself and my art. And that's where the alter ego came in. It was like my Sasha Fierce. Right? When you're creating art, I think that you're going to be more successful if you're vulnerable, right? It's like the parts of us that are,
I love that.
Yeah. And it's hard to be vulnerable when you feel like you've been the same person for 36 years. So if I create some distance between that person, it just allows me more space to be vulnerable or explore the places that I normally wouldn't if I was myself.
That your true self might hold you back somehow from. So your alter ego. Okay, so it's more in that department than say you're wanting more privacy, you're not wanting to share your last name so much, or is it maybe a bit of both?
Perhaps a little bit of both.
You do have quite a following on social media, so I think that would be understandable if that's...
Yeah, no, I think it is feeling like you have a little bit of feeling of being anonymous is helpful for sure, but it's more of a case of just allowing myself to step into somebody else. I think that the parts of us that we typically try to hide the most are the parts that people will connect with the most. Those are the parts.
That's so true.
Right? Have you watched Stutz, the documentary on Netflix?
I have not yet, but I have only heard good things, and it's on my crazy list.
Yeah.
Is it really good?
It is really good. It feels like you're in a therapy session. It gives you so many great tools. And he talks about that. The shadow is the part, he calls it the shadow is the part of us that we hide, but really it's the part of us that we need to include the most so that we can become whole and connect with people. And I think that having this alter ego that a lot of musicians do have, and I'm sure a lot of artists do have too, allows you to fully embrace the wholeness of who you are and put yourself into your art and online with your community without feeling in some sort of weird way like you're getting too personal.
Wow, that is really cool.
It's from Wreck-It Ralph. Vanellope Vonshweetz.
Yeah. And you know what? Just for the listeners, I was kind of playing silly buggers because I did know the answer to that. So yeah, I really like that. And now I feel like I need an alter ego. So I'm going to start brainstorming that. If you're listening and you can think of something for me, send it in on the chat line. I would love to know what my alter ego would be.
Farmer Yumi or something along those lines.
Farmer Yumi. Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. The fact that we both know what that is, we are in the same phase of life. How old? You have 2 kids, yes? How old are your kids?
4 and 9.
4 and 9. Okay, so Farmer Yumi is a strong presence.
Yep.
Yep, that's Paw Patrol for anyone
Yeah.
that is unfamiliar.
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to know, like, on the topic of backstories, I wanted to kind of just like break the ice with a little fun game for you, and just want to test like a trivia.
Oh, I love games.
Because yes, you did
Can we
mention
do
that.
like a little drinky poo first?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. You know what, guys? It wouldn't be Chore Beer Chats without the Chore
Mm,
Beer. For reference, for everyone listening, it is currently 1:30 p.m. in Ontario, and for Dani, it is 10:30. So I told her, I'm like,
yum.
you know what? We don't have to do the chore beer. It can be a chore coffee because chore beers is more than just the actual drink. It's like the feeling, okay? But she was like, no, girl,
Yes,
I
it's
got
a
a
vibe.
mimosa. So she's got a
Yeah.
mimosa
You know what?
pouring.
Champagne is always acceptable. Like I felt like a beer at 10:30 was pushing it, but
Yeah.
champagne is always socially acceptable. Plus, we're
Mhm.
celebrating. So
You're
cheers.
right.
Cheers to you.
Cheers. Cheers to you. And mine is actually a mimosa beer because it's the closest thing I had to a mimosa, but it felt right. So okay, so you mentioned celebrities having alter egos. Clearly, Sasha Fierce. We all know Sasha Fierce.
Mm,
Okay. If you don't, go home, do your research. Okay. That's on you. Now I'm
yeah,
gonna
you're
just
not welcome
list a
here. Yeah.
few. You're not welcome. I'm sorry, you cannot sit with us. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna list a couple alter egos and you have to guess who they are,
Oh, okay,
who the
fun.
celebrity is.
Okay.
I'm going to start very, very easy. Slim
Okay.
Shady. Do you know who Slim Shady
Oh,
is?
he's one of my favorite artists, actually, Eminem.
Yeah. Okay.
Marshall
Duh.
Mathers.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
yes.
funny. Like, it
There's
was like
so
an alter
many.
ego answered with an alter ego. Yeah.
That's true. It's like Inception of, yeah, wow, I wasn't ready for that. This one, Hannah
Mm.
Montana.
Oh, Miley Cyrus.
Yeah. Yeah. The Fresh Prince.
Will Smith.
Yes, thank you. Mimi.
Ooh, I don't know that one.
I know it's getting progressively more difficult. It's Mariah Carey.
Oh, I'm
Ooh, I
embarrassed.
know, but she's a little irrelevant. No offense, Mimi, if you're listening, you're a little irrelevant. So like I don't
Yikes.
blame you for not knowing that. I did have to Google this list, okay? This one, Chris Gaines. Do you know who Chris Gaines is? It's a
No.
tough one. Okay, do you remember? I don't even know when this was. I want to say like 2000, late 2000s. Oh, I wish I had the year in front of me. That Garth Brooks released an album and it was like a weird
Oh my
like
gosh, yes.
so it's like
Yeah,
a
I do
rock
remember
pop
this.
album. Yeah, and it was like emo hair and it was Chris Gaines. And I actually do think it came from like
Ooh,
it was a character in a movie he was supposed to play and the movie never came out. So then it was just like really confusing in pop culture because it was like, Garth, homie, what are you
yes.
doing? Anyway, okay, yeah. So
You
you
don't
did
need to,
pretty
yeah.
well with my list. I think that was a good icebreaker.
Thank you.
Um so I want to do a little more of a intro on your business. We talked about a few things that you do.
Mm,
I had no idea, like all of your woodworking, it's unreal. But then like around
thank
Christmas
you.
time, you started just like drawing art on windows, and I was like, I'm sorry, what? What else can you do? So okay, so when did North Soul Studios begin? When did this happen for you? When did it start?
Well, North Soul Studios came to be 6 years ago, and it really wasn't what it is today. Like it really took me quite a while to find my lane, um, which is so important. Just like side note, I think if you're starting out, you need to really allow yourself space and grace to find where you belong because there's a lane for everybody, and it really did take me a while to find my lane. Like when I started out, I was like painting mason jars and making growth charts. And then eventually I got a miter saw and things
Nice.
started taking off. And then the window painting just last Christmas, it was really fun for me because it was just a different avenue. Like, you know, you
Right.
can get burnt out, even though we love what we do, there's obviously still burnout. And it was just a different creative avenue to re spark something within me and also different revenue stream too, which was fun.
Diversifying, that's a big thing, Yeah,
Yeah.
because and you get not bored. I don't even want to say complacent, but yeah, like you sometimes, and I don't just mean artistically. I think just in general, maybe more entrepreneurial. I guess if you stay in the same lane for a certain time, yes, you miss a spark. You need to shake things up to kind of get that
Yeah.
inspiration back. So, yeah, you're so talented, and you've had your
Thank
our
you.
saw. What Christmas movie was your work in? What was that?
Oh, A Great North Christmas. Yeah, my art made it in there for like a whole 16 seconds, and it's in like the very end scene. So like me and
That's
my
so
family were
cool.
watching it literally throughout the whole movie. And then in the end, it's in the background, and we were freaking out. It was so exciting. Like at
Yeah.
the end, when the credits rolled, you see North Soul. Like, so important to celebrate those moments, right? I think
A
we
hundred
all often
percent.
take time. Hopefully, you take time when you know you're in grieving and you feel like you need to hibernate or settle in or shut in. And then we have these really great things like you in this podcast. And I think it's really important to like take a beat and just celebrate, right?
It's true. Yeah, because we can get going so fast with things that it's well, I'm kind of speaking personally. You me,
Mm-hmm.
I go so fast just barreling into
Yeah.
everything head first that
Yes.
it's easy to feel like,
What's
"Oh,
next? What's
I
next?
haven't."
What's next?
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, I haven't gotten anything accomplished." But it's like, "Girl, take a minute. Like, stop. You're out of
Yeah.
control. Just take
Yeah.
a breather and like look at what you've done." So that is so cool.
Yeah.
And you've also had one of your pieces and chalk art as well in Lululemon.
Yeah, I worked with Lululemon. They requested a mountain piece in their store, so I created a mountain piece for them, and then they put up a big chalkboard in their store. So I ended up working with them for I think like 2 years. They were a great company to work with.
That's awesome. I want to know more. Like what do you feel your biggest accomplishment with your business has been? Or is it like a changing thing?
It is a changing thing. I would honestly, my biggest accomplishment has probably been something so much bigger than one single project. Like creating North Soul came at a time of my life when I just didn't really give a shit anymore. Like I had done everything that they said I was supposed to do. You know, like even an option of being an artist in high school, that especially in that time, you know, like I'm a senior millennial, so especially at that time it wasn't really offered. You know, it wasn't encouraged to be
Right.
like a quote unquote starving artist at the time.
Right.
And then eventually, you know, when I was in like my later 20s, I was like, man, I did all this stuff. I was I was actually like engaged to a different man. I, you know, had a house. I was an esthetician, and I was
Oh,
totally unfulfilled. So yeah, so the relationship I was in was not healthy, and it hit an abusive standpoint, and I ended up leaving. And during that time, it just ripped me open. I just didn't care anymore about pleasing other people because it wasn't serving me. Um,
right.
and so I actually met Steve, my husband now, and it's so true what they say, you know, how like you are the sum of the five people that are around you most. That was the case. Like my girlfriends were lifting me up. They were super supportive. And Steve was like, what are you do? Like, you should do something that speaks to your soul, like something that's fulfilling to
Oh,
you.
yes,
And so
Steve.
because you have all these like positive voices in your head, yeah, because you have these positive voices in your head, naturally you begin to have more positive self-talk too, right?
Right.
So you
More
kind of train your
confidence that
brain to
maybe I
think a little
can.
differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and why
Wow.
not? Like, so what if I fail? Because I tried it the way that everyone told me to try it and that didn't work out.
Right.
So I might as well do something I actually like to do. And yeah.
And I do hope that that's sort of I don't know. I mean, I want to say that that's sort of changing in society now for
Yeah.
younger generations because I think I can't remember if we discovered are we like similarly aged? I think like very close, aren't we? Without
I'm
outing
36.
ourselves. Oh,
Oh.
I'm 32, so I'm from a different generation. No, I'm technically an elder millennial as well. But still same vibe. So it was like art that kind of thing. It was not something that oh, you're not going to get paid. That's not a good job. You need to be like a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher. Like everyone push teachers so hard,
Yep.
okay? And
Mm-hmm.
you grow up kind of I mean, me anyway. Well, most people, I think. I think in high school and everything, you kind of have that pressure of, okay, I need to find a good job. It's not
Yep.
like, oh, what do I like doing? What am I good at? You don't know at that time, also. Like, some
Definitely.
people
And I think
do.
you're right.
Some people do.
I think there is like a shift happening right now where people are looking towards something that is more fulfilling and not just a 9 to 5er, because we work a lot more than 9 to 5. Like having this
Yeah.
entrepreneurial mindset is such a blessing and a curse. And I
Yes.
mean, that's what led us to meet each other. That's how,
100%.
yeah.
Yes. Because yeah, it's totally different. So when you're working a 9 to 5 and you're just so unfulfilled, and now I'm working a 24/7, 365, but I'm loving it.
Mm.
Like it's my choice.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
cry
love a
myself to
lunch
sleep
break.
every night, but I'm fine. I love it.
They're happy tears, right?
Yeah.
It's different though, because yes, I am more fulfilled, but I think it's something that you have to find your own way, but it is important to be surrounded by people who give you space to do that, like
Yeah.
you obviously found. Because otherwise, if you're in like a toxic relationship or you have negative kind of vibes everywhere, you're not getting those voices talking to you to like lift you up. They're more like self-doubt, like that's a bad idea. Why would you do that? Or think about how this could happen. I'm kind of in this a similar epiphany as you, as the fuck it, like just stopped giving a shit. And that is also, I think, the trigger, the catalyst for me starting all the shit that I've started. Because I just like, I don't know what exactly it was. I think it was having kids that shifted it for me,
Yeah.
because I started thinking, oh my God, like these kids, I don't want to ruin you. I don't want to traumatize you. Like, we're going to traumatize our
Mm.
children, but I would like to, like, in the
Yeah.
most minimal
Let's
way
accept that.
possible. Yeah. So I'm
In the
like,
best
how
way
can
I know
I
how I want to traumatize my children.
exactly.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So it's like what I need to be, I need to, if I want them to live a certain way, like I need to also do that. Like, and it's kind of sad that,
Yes.
it took having kids to think, oh, I need to give myself more grace and take care of myself. Like I'm important now that I have kids. Like I should have been important before, but it was something that
Mm.
it just made me be like, okay, we'll talk the talk then. So I was like, fuck it. And just
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling fulfilled. So I was like, let's do whatever I want to make me happy, because happy mom is the best kind of mom, if you can, if you can be.
Yeah. Also, like, do you have what genders are your children?
I have my son is 2.5 and my daughter is four. So boy and girl.
Yes. Okay. So Zoe, when she was born, so she's 9 now, but when she was born, that was a huge eye opener for me, more so than like what I knew. It was magnified when I had Zoe, because I felt like being a female, I was so aware, and having Cruz as well later, I really was so aware of like the shackles that genders can put on us. And I'm like, if I can like show Zoe that I can work with saws and I'm putting myself out there and I'm working hard, which, side note, um, can also make you feel so guilty as a mother. I always
Yeah.
try to like twist that into like when she's older, she will truly appreciate those days that I wasn't with her, because I was working on my dream and I was working on helping our family, and in terms of Cruz, like him seeing his dad supporting me with doing something
Yes.
that was out of the norm was really
Right.
important to me. Like I wanted them to see a different face of an entrepreneur, woodworker. That's important.
Yes, and I have chills because that's literally this is why we vibed. And we didn't talk about this when we did click, but this is it. We just knew. Cuz that's exactly also my case. And so I had my daughter first. Yeah. So your daughter is the older one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had my daughter first and I was like, "Holy fuck. The world is a dumpster fire and
Mm,
I am going to arm her with the weapons she needs to protect herself and to just forage her way through life.
yeah.
And I am not allowing the perpetuation of the traditional gender roles
Yeah.
to like I think about all of it. I'm so hyper aware with her,
Yes.
like to the point I overthink it so much that I'm just like, she's in school now. She just started JK this year, so she comes home with all these new things, right?
Mm,
Um, I've always made it an effort to. I'm not just going to give her the pink thing. You can choose the color. Like I'm not going to
yeah.
force my shit because my brain thinks, oh, girl, pink is girl, blue is boy. So like between my son and my daughter, you pick the color. But she'll come
Yeah.
home from school. Obviously, you cannot control the environment, and that's what I'm kind of struggling with at this age.
Yeah.
And she comes home and now my brain is going, okay, now I'm offering her a choice of the colored cups and she's picking pink. And is that because at school, other people are, other kids and the teachers, are they pushing the pink? And that sounds so dumb, but and it's not like life shattering, but that's just something I think about as a mom of a girl, is I
Yeah.
just don't want
I
her
don't,
to
it's
be,
not dumb. It like trapped, right? In a box. I think that that's
yes,
just
like,
being aware. And even,
yeah,
the fact that like you're a farmer, I'm working with saws, the fact that you even have this podcast, Laurel, like I think it's I think it's something like 25% of podcast hosts are female. So
I
here
didn't
you
know
are.
that.
Like, yeah, like so
Cool.
you're in a small percentage of female podcast hosts. So even just putting yourself out there like that, you're just showing your children and my children different faces of
Right.
success. And that's
Yes.
important so they can see themselves potentially.
Yes. No, it is true. I've just become so hyper aware. And it's like you said about the box, it is totally fine. If you're listening, you're like, well, my daughter likes pink. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with pink. I'm just saying what the issue with that is being forced into the box. I want her to be able to choose.
Yeah.
And instead of like being molded to like, oh, well, this is where I go because I'm a girl. So
Yeah.
I have to do
Well,
this.
and I
So
think
I'm
too,
just
like that leads to feelings of, especially in the career choices that we've made, feelings of like anxiety and imposter syndrome. You have these
totally.
thoughts that are, you question if you deserve your accolades, you question if you deserve to be there. And I think a lot of that isn't necessarily individual, it's something cultural, why we get something like imposter syndrome.
You're totally right. Because as much as, you try to normalize it and talk about it, like this is how I was raised. Like this is the society I grew up in. So it's like,
Right.
you
Yeah.
fight to smash that, but it's like, it's in my DNA now that like it is the foundation of me is this is what, and that sounds unbelievable, right? Some people are like, yeah, right. That's not real. It's 2023. You know what? It is real. And it's just something I'm going to fight to the death
Yeah.
try to lessen that with
Yeah.
my
Well, and
with
a
my
lot of those
daughter.
ideas, they were not put there with our permission. A lot of those ideas
Right.
that are within us, they're really deep rooted. They're there
It's
from
true.
when we were, right? Like from when we were little girls. And like you said, you would wear a pink dress or be told not to get dirty. And did you know, like imposter syndrome originally was actually only even assigned to women. Imposter syndrome, when it was first created, they actually didn't even think that men had imposter syndrome. It was just assigned
I
to
didn't know
women.
that, but that tracks. Yeah, that tracks. Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
totally. So yeah, it's interesting. There's definitely like a long, um, there's like a seed that's planted there within us that does make you potentially hyper aware of those situations. And especially when sometimes like sexism can be dropped pretty casually, then
Yeah.
it seems like, am I overthinking this? Am I overreacting?
Yeah.
But those are I think like the little subtle differences that'll change things for our children is
Agree.
kind of being
Yeah.
hyper aware and speaking up about it, because a lot of men, because it is so casual, a lot of them just don't realize they're doing it.
And because that's just normal. That's just what their dad did. That's what their friends do. Like it's the same way. Exactly. Like it's not even maybe maliciously intended, but that's just how they were taught and shown. So I'm now not only hyper aware with my son, I'm also with my daughter,
Yeah.
I'm also looking at like, okay, from his side, like I need to show him
Yes.
like toxic masculinity. We're going to nip that in the bud. We are going to
Mm.
treat women as equals. And like, I'm most worried about, I'm most worried about when he goes to school and that kind of influence. Cause I feel like boys, not everyone not everyone thinks the way you and I think with raising our kids in that way. So it's like, again, you can't control the environment. So you can only try to raise them to, I don't know,
Yeah.
recognize it. I'm not going to do that. So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
tough. That's
Well,
a
and I
whole
think
can
too,
of
like
worms.
if you, it is, and I think too, if you think of the problem in terms of like culturally and societal, then it can feel really overwhelming. But if you
Mm-hmm.
just hold it into your household, like, okay, I'm going to hone
Right.
it in and just like show my daughter that you are laboring your cattle Farmer Yumi's over here, you know, taking care of her farm, and she's hosting a podcast, and mom's going to go into the shop with some saws. Well, that may not like shift the entire, you know, culture, but it's a start. Like it's
a building block.
Like why it's a building block. That's a great way of putting it. Yeah.
Because you're right. You cannot control the environment. Oh, this is great advice. You're getting me all fired up because yes, this is good for me.
Fired up.
All you can do is focus on what you can control. And like, no, I can't control my kids. My kids are out of control for sure. Like raccoons. But I mean, like I can control how my kids are raised in my home. And then you just hope that little foundation block you've built with them, you know, they have other friends one day that also have a little brick, and we're going to go full metaphor here. And they're just going to build like fun little wall. And then the wall, the wall sounds not where I want to go.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that's not a wall. They're building. The metaphor's going south. I fucked up.
We're
going to build a wall and keep all the boys out. No. You know what I mean? Okay, so the bricks, they're putting it together to create one, possibly with all of those little bricks, there will be a shift
and
in the culture in the future.
In the bricks, like we're all on the right side of the wall. We're inclusive bricks.
Yeah, they can bricks, and they can be any color bricks. They can be any shape. Okay, this is everybody. Every brick is welcome.
Like, gender neutral bricks.
And if you don't like want to be a brick, you can be whatever you want. You're still invited.
You can be whatever you want to be.
So yeah, I could go on about this all day, but that's just very validating to hear that from you as well. Like, because I sometimes feel I do have mom friends or mom people that do think the same way as me, but it is validating to hear that from you because it's a lot. It's a burden. It's a heavy weight to take on to, you know, you just want to protect your babies, you know?
Yeah. We want better for them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The same way that our mothers wanted for us and our, you know, grandparents wanted for us. We always want better for the next generation.
Yep. So here's hoping for the next generation. You guys, you got this. You did touch on showing your daughter that you're capable of using a miter saw. Okay, I want to talk about that because it is uncommon, stereotypically uncommon to see women wielding such high-speed power tools. Okay, or at least that's what culture, society says. Okay, I myself have been known to use a couple power tools in my day, but not like you can because you're an absolute expert. So that being said, obviously, what you're doing professionally, the reality is it is more of a male-dominated field. Would you feel? I don't mean the craftswoman, like the maker side. I just mean like from a arrogant man's perspective, a woman using power tools, I think, is more like, whoa, oh, okay, like I didn't know you. Are you sure you need some help, little lady? So do you run into things like that? Like, do you experience sexism like that, or even like you said, the subtle drops? Like, do you get a lot of that?
The subtle drops for sure. I don't because I'm typically solo in my workshop. So I think that say like a female carpenter that was in the trenches every day really would experience that a lot more often than I would because I'm quite isolated. But you know, like at the hardware store, for example, like I have been asked when I've asked for a certain material, I've been asked, oh, it's for a craft, you know, like an assumption, or I have been asked where my husband is, or I have been asked even in the lineup, like, what are you doing with all those guy things? Which actually ended leading to like a great conversation between me and this like elderly gentleman, and we had a great conversation about it. But it's like we were saying, these like casual drops can make you feel like you don't belong there. I don't experience it too much. Online, misogyny can be loud. I have been in situations where I've gotten terribly degraded online for just wearing Carhartts. Like there's an odd thing. I don't know if you found this, but like with women in Carhartts online, it's very like triggering for
like for men?
For men's egos.
I haven't
Yes, yes.
I
Like
do
there
I
was
do
actually
frequent the internet with Carhartt, but I haven't gotten that yet. Mm.
well, this was actually last year around this time. There was like a game going around where men would like throw cameras in women's faces that were wearing Carhartts and catch them doing quote unquote non Carhartt things, and it was like a TikTok trend. Like there,
Ew.
it's you know what
Ick.
it's not yeah, it's unfortunate because men like that, they just add to the dumpster fire. Then that's why it's so
Yes,
important for like
they
more
do.
perhaps enlightened men like Andy or Steve to support their women in whatever whatever we want to do. So yeah,
Yeah.
it does. It's in me. It's planted within me because it's not necessarily in my shop. But it's a part of my life because it's a part of our experience, which is loud from Roe versus Wade last year and all of the
Yep.
politics and abortion rights and even like mat leave or the size of our clothing. Like it integrates into a lot of different parts of our lives. So for me, it's not as loud as you would think because I'm pretty solo over here.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's definitely a bonus because yeah, like women in trades, for example, yeah, no, I can't imagine because, for every good man, there
Yeah.
are still men out there that are not following this path of, respecting women. Unfortunately. So
Yeah.
I think the more we speak up about it, it helps normalize it. So we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. And I was going to anyway, and I'm not saying sorry for it. So, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yes, queen.
yeah. So keep using your miter saw because you're a badass bitch. And now a word from our sponsors. Fresh Flower Farm is a small woman-owned and operated flower farm in Tellaby Lake, Alberta. Madeline sells seeds and bulbs to have your very own beautiful cut flower garden, shipping Canada-wide. Throughout the year, she also offers flower crown classes, you-pick evenings, holiday wreath workshops, and floral design for small events. If you love pink flowers, you're in the right place. Head to www.freshflowerfarm.com to shop now. That's FRAICHE Fresh. Cultivate breathtaking memories with Fresh Flower Farm. I think it's time. I did allude to this, but I would like to discuss our friendship origin story. I did this on the last episode, and I might make it my thing.
I would love that.
Because it's just like a little context. So like how do you know each other? Like what's going on? Like you're in Prince George, you're in Ontario. Like what? Okay, guys, here's the tea. I met Dani
Oh, okay.
at
Side
side.
note.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do a sidebar here because
Okay.
you are in
Sidebar.
Ontario and I am in BC. Sidebar, it felt like fate when we met each other. Like when you meet a
The
sister,
one.
it's
Yeah.
almost like on the same level. Yeah, yeah. It's like it's it's like when you meet your soulmate, but like without the romance part, without the
Mm-hmm.
without the banging part. But there's like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
something that like sparks. Like there's just like an organic spark there. And it felt like fate that we met. And then it was such like cosmic injustice when I found out you were from Ontario. I was like, what? Why
I know.
why
Yeah.
would the uni do this to me?
It
Okay,
was
you go. You
painful.
go.
So we met at Dani and I both went to the Jillian Harris had a retreat called Academy at the Farm. She has these, if you're not familiar with Jillian Harris, get out, first of all. Just kidding. But she does her business
Kind of.
courses called the Jilly Academy. So she did her first ever like in-person retreat. And Dani and I got tickets somehow. And we it was after the first night, the first event, and we're having like wine, just the group of all these women in this room. And I just found myself compelled to wander outside to take a photo of the beautiful sun setting over, I don't know what Lake Okanagan. Would I be right? I have no idea. The
Yes.
beautiful Lake Okanagan. And I was like
That was
trying to get a
Okanagan,
picture.
yes.
And I'm just like fucking trying to get my picture of the sun setting. And then Dani's on like the
Yep.
other side and she's doing the same thing, and we're just like in both of each other's shots, and we were like that was our meet cute. That was our meet
Yeah.
cute, is we were like in each other's
I think like
sunset
the first thing I
shots.
said to you, I think was don't bother. It's not going to do it any justice. And so we just like we stared at the sunset together.
Together, that really solidified it all. Yeah. And then yeah, I guess the rest is history, as they say. And actually, what was it? I think, yeah, you were like, oh, I think I follow you. I feel like I showed up on your Instagram feed as soon as you opened your phone, and I was like, that's me. And I followed her back apparently the week before. And yeah, so,
Yeah. You know
we
what too?
met before we met.
I almost didn't attend that evening of the Jillian Harris event too. And if I didn't, that would have gone very sideways for us. But
It would have,
I was
because the
in the
next day was
hotel room. Yeah.
chaos.
Yeah. And you know what? It was so funny too, Laurel, because that night we really connected. Like we both discussed how we had a fear that we felt like we were not going to belong there. And the next morning, actually, I even remember on the bus, just to fast forward a little bit, I was at the back of the bus. The bus was going to take us to Jillian Harris's home, and no one was beside me. Like I wasn't really engaging with anyone. I was nervous, and I knew I really needed to ground myself before this really big day. And the bus was full. I think the seat beside me at the back of the bus was maybe potentially the last seat available.
It was.
And then
Confirm.
you came on the bus. It was. Okay. So you came on the bus, and I looked up, and I remember like looking into your eyes, and both of us were like, no fucking way. Like, have a seat. And then sidebar, I like those apparently.
I love
Is,
sidebars.
like, the theme of my guest is
it's perfect. Love it.
Margin notes. Yeah. Because I needed to recenter myself, I remember feeling like you really held space for me to do that, because I remember seeing other videos of the buses, and they were like singing songs, and they were loud, and they were, getting really jacked up to go to like, Jillian Harris's house. Like,
fired the fuck
in our
up.
lives and our careers.
Yeah.
Yes. And I needed to ground. I was kind of like anxious. And
Same.
I remember when you sat beside me, I felt no need to engage with you or entertain you. There was a comfort level that you had, unintentionally provided me with. And I remember just sitting beside you feeling very grateful that you were unintentionally holding space for me to just not talk. Because, sometimes you just need to talk to fill space. And I will forever be very, very grateful for that moment. But like backtracking to the night. Yeah. Backtracking to the night before, it was like probably an hour before we were going to the hotel, which was the first part of the Jillian Harris event. We were going to do yoga. And I had read, all the emails and messages for preparation a dozen times. And then like an hour before I was supposed to go, I went through the email again, just to like double check everything. I was ready to go. I was dressed. My hair was done. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to sit in this quiet hotel room by myself. You're doing this road trip by yourself. And I look at the email, and it said something along the lines of like, if you can, wear yoga attire. And I was not in yoga attire, which I had read like 12 times before. I had bought like a really cute Smash and Tess outfit. And it was like not one of the like comfy rompers. It was like the Birds Papaya collaboration. So it was like, a little more badassy. Yes. And so I read it, and I was like, fuck, I'm not going. I can't go. I'm not in the right clothes. Like, what am I doing? I'm going to look like an idiot. And I just really started like negotiating myself out of going. Yeah. I'm like, the kids aren't here. I've got this hotel room. Like, I'll go tomorrow. I don't need to be there tonight. And then it was only maybe like 10 minutes before we had to be there that I just had a bit of an epiphany that I was taking up this space, and there was so many other women that would have killed to be in
like literally
position.
Killed, probably.
They literally would have like killed me with their
knife.
Very aesthetically pleasing shank knife to be at this Jillian Harris event. And so I was like, you know what? Let's just do one foot in front of the other. And I went, and I remember during that whole yoga session, like I basically just had camel toe the whole time, because was not built for yoga.
No, it's not.
But like, it just ended up being like just a part of our our meeting. Like, it was wonderful. And
the camel toe was, yes, it brought us together.
She was present. Like, I needed to be photoshopped out of some stuff. But like, I looked really cute from the waist up.
You did.
And,
you did look cute.
Thank you. Actually, that night, because you and I shut it down, there was only like a small handful of us there.
We did.
You were so funny, Laurel. Like, I was just like, hey, I need to like watch how much I'm drinking. You came over and you were just like, glass number 4, ladies. Woo! And remember the bartender was like, just take the rest of it. And just
literally, you just fucking cup. Emptied the bottle. Literally fuck, man. Up your cup. Regrets.
Yes. And then, no, that was like something I loved about you, was you were totally, you seem, I don't know what was going on in your head, but you seemed so so authentic and unapologetic. Like, it's very magnetic. Like, you have a very magnetic energy that I knew I belonged there with you. A lot of people thought we went together, actually. I got that a lot.
Actually. Well, I feel like we had matching energies like that.
Yes, I take that as a compliment. Well, at the very end of the night, right before we left, I feel like this like gentle graze on my shoulder, and I look back, and it was Ashley Freeborn, the creator and owner of Smash and Tess. And she was like, I love your outfit. And I was like, girl, yes, like, I'm so happy I wore this outfit. I'm so happy I stayed late. And we ended up having that like great moment with Ashley Freeborn and Nat from Poppy and Peonies. And
yes,
it really like set the tone for the rest of our time.
Yeah, you would have. And it's something that I'm so glad you did, for so many selfish reasons, of course. I am glad that you did end up going that night. But I think it was like that energy. Like, I felt the same way going into, I did not want to go because of my anxiety. Like, I did not want to go. I didn't know anybody. Really? And I did not want to go. Oh, like, I just, oh my God. Like, cause I had seen so many people being like, yeah, I'm going with so-and-so. Like, I just, in my head, thought everyone's coming with someone. I'm the only one by myself. Like, I don't know anyone. This is so out of my comfort zone. So I think I don't know, somehow inadvertently picked up on each other's, and we're like, we can do this together. It's fine. It's great. And then, it was honestly so fun.
I thought that I was going to be such a fish out of water because I was coming from Prince George, and because I'm a girl that always wore Carhartts. And I was, to be honest, Laurel, like, I really had to check myself on that second day, because I realized that I went in there with judgments of some of those other women. Like, the women that were going to show up to a Jillian Harris event were going to look a certain way and be a certain way. And they weren't. That was on me. Like, those were my judgments. And it is also a sign, like what we were saying earlier, kind of what's planted within us also as women. There's like there's something that we've been taught that we need to compete. And yes. And I thought that all of these women were going to be competitive, and they were going to judge me because I don't wear white, like, just like ridiculous things. And it wasn't that way at all. Everyone there was like so encouraging and so supportive of each other. And even though we were all so different, there was, we weren't necessarily woven from the same cloth. There was a very connective thread between all 100 of us, that we were all there because we were all dancing to the beat of our own drum.
Yes, no, 100%. And I have to say, I felt the same. I had the same reservations, and, the judgment thing. And I think that comes from, it stems from a place of insecurity, of feeling like we don't belong. So your brain instantly is like, you're a threat. Like, of course you are, because you're gorgeous and you have probably a million more followers than me. And like, why am I here? I don't belong here. But you're right. There was that commonality of like, it didn't matter. It was everyone. It was wild how everyone, and I will still talk about it to this day, about everyone there was so inspired, so ambitious. Everyone was just trying to do something. And it was like, that was so cool. It was so cool. And like, Ashley Freeborn, like, she is a boss ass bitch and so down to earth. And Natalie from Poppy and Peonies. It was just really cool to see them as like normal human beings when they were just with us that night as well, the night before. And just to be like, oh, like, we are the same. Like, I can do what you're doing too. Like, no, I can't. But like I can be a powerful
stay in your lane.
yeah, I'll stay in my own lane. But like I can accomplish shit too. And I guess it's
Yeah.
attainable. Like, and it was just really cool to see how down to earth they were.
Yeah. It was
So
really
yeah.
transformative.
Yes, it
Like
was.
I actually feel like it wasn't until days or even weeks after that I had marinated in the experience that I realized I was operating differently. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't intentional. I just found that I was like holding, my back was straighter. I had a stronger backbone, but my heart was soft. My chest was open. I felt like I was just operating from a stronger standpoint, a standpoint from a place of community, a place of
Yeah.
strength, a place of competence. Like I just found all this all of a sudden I felt more capable.
Yeah, it was powerful. I felt that too. Now I'm not going to say my answer yet, but I want to ask you, like, was there a specific moment of the like I'm talking about the day of the retreat. Like was there a workshop or a
Mm-hmm.
speaker or a moment that stuck with you after the fact the most, like when you were marinating? Is there something that you feel was like the most triggering for you in a good way?
This wasn't actually the day of the retreat, but what I did love was Jamie Woods. And I actually remember her saying that she's not on social media, but she studies the human brain. And she gave us a lecture on how our brains operate. And I found that fascinating and
Yeah,
totally
that was really
validating.
cool. Yeah.
Loved her. And I'm trying to think about what like specifically stood out. In my head, I'm automatically actually thinking of like small moments, not the
But the
big
small
moments.
moments
But
can
the
always be the most impactful. I'll help you because I'm going to say mine, and maybe that happened to you too. But it was when we did a workshop with Taryn Harrod and Angela Osborne of the Atelier Collective. So
Atelier
for anyone
Collective,
listening,
huge.
yeah, that was sick. Like that, I was
Yes,
so into that workshop,
yes,
and what really
yes.
and
Me
it
too.
actually, I don't even know if it wasn't even a positive thing for me at the time. The impact when they did, it was the blue sky thinking that like fucked me up.
Blue
Like
sky,
in the
the blue
it
sky
fucked me
thinking.
up. Yeah. Because, okay, so blue sky thinking, oh, I
How did
wish I
it
had the
fuck you?
definition
Tell
in front of
me.
me. That would have been like professional to have that. But blue sky thinking essentially in their words, this is what Angela and Taryn have coined and they do in their speaking events and things and their shows. It's basically the blue sky. Like, so where would you want to go with your life or your business? Like what goals do you have if there was nothing holding you back? Like just into the sky. And that fucking, oh man, that like resonated with me so deep that I was like gonna quit. Like I was like, what the fuck? Who am I? So everyone's writing down, oh, take a moment to write down, like, where do you want to be? Like whatever. And I had this whole, oh my God, I don't even know how to explain it, but I was just like blank. And I'm like, fuck, I don't know. I don't fucking know. Because I feel like, and I'm sure I wasn't alone. Like I did not get to meet everyone there. There were so many women. Like one regret I kind of have is that I
Mm-hmm.
didn't talk to more people, but I don't regret it because in the moment, like I could only emotionally, like I could only hold space for so many things in that day. So like I had like
Yeah,
you, and then there was a couple other women that I kind of clicked with that were in my area that I was like, okay, like
yeah.
I cannot like I don't want that sounds
Including
weird, but
Nacho and
like
Peaches. Like you spent
including
quite a bit of time with
yeah,
the dogs.
I did. Yeah. Yeah. I was the most starstruck
You
with
did. They loved
Nacho.
you.
Like Jillian, amazing to meet you. But
Yeah,
Nacho, that was different.
but
Um that was
mm,
different.
yeah,
Sidebar. But with the blue sky thinking, like everyone in my head, this may come back to just assumptions, but I'm like, everyone here has something that they do or like a product. Like, okay, so you're blue sky thinking, oh, I want to get my soap bar. I want to get it in fucking Hudson's Bay. I don't know, whatever. So it's like all these things I'm imagining other people are
yeah.
writing down. And I'm doubting myself because I'm like, I don't have a fucking product. Like, am I done? Do I quit? Like, is this it for me? Like, I don't have a
Oh,
fucking product. So I'm like,
that's
what's my blue
interesting.
sky? So it really, I think things I fucking wrote down were like, I don't know, like an event space. Like I was thinking, oh, okay, maybe like blue sky. If I win $7 billion, I'll like build a brand new barn and turn it into this really fucking cool wedding venue. And like, it'll be a cool agritourism destination. But I'm like, that's so unrealistic. But that is the point of blue sky thinking, is to just, and then I'm like,
That's the
maybe I'll,
point.
right. And so then that went into like, oh, well then maybe that's not as realistic. So what's more attainable, but still blue sky? I'm like, okay, well maybe I want to host my own like retreat like this. Like this is cool. Like I love the fact of bringing all these like-minded women together, and like, I want to make this more accessible for, like getting a ticket to this fucking thing was like shitting out a fucking horseshoe or whatever. I had a horseshoe up my ass.
A gold ticket. Like, a Willy Wonka gold ticket. Yes.
Like literally to this day, I don't know how I got one. So for me to go was like absolutely wildly, normally unreasonable, would never happen, but it did. So I was thinking maybe I'll try and like bring this home and do something to just try to like emulate this feeling that I have of inspiration and like community. Like maybe I want to try to do that, but then I'm like, like I don't really want to do that, blah blah blah. So I sat on it, and it like was really tearing me apart because I really wanted to just quit. I'm like, I think I have to quit. Quit what? I don't know. But I was like, I think this is it. Like I think I've hit I've peaked. Like I have nothing left to give. But then, so I actually, if you recall, I had to bounce like right at the end. Like I had to grab a cab. Yes. Everyone took the bus home. I had to take a cab because I had a flight out literally in like 3 hours after the retreat ended, because I double booked myself that weekend. So it was a lot, but it was fun. So anyways, so I'm at the airport that night, and I'm just marinating on the plane, and I took a red eye home because I'm a psycho. And then I get into the Toronto airport, and I'm in my car driving home, and I have this like, I'm calling Andy because my husband Andy, because I need to like get out the words. I'm like, I feel like I'm fucking done. Like I whatever. He's like, what are you talking about? Like, you just opened the farm store. I'm like, yeah, but that in my head, that was a goal, and I fucking achieved it. Yeah. So no, I'm not done with the store. I'm not closing the store, but that box has been checked. And now like I have like, what's next? Like I have nothing left. And then I had this epiphany, like it literally was like in a movie where I was like, whoa, an aha moment. And I was like, I feel like I need to start a podcast. So it was literally, yeah. So it was literally the blue sky thinking, because that was like me bringing back, okay, like I want to connect these women with this feeling, but I don't really want to have the space. Like I don't want to host an event, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, maybe this is the itch I need to scratch. Maybe this is it. And then I got talking about it, and speaking of people who support you and uplift you, talk to my dad, talk to Andy, and they both were like, having a hard time finding a flaw with that idea. Like, that sounds awesome. Like, you absolutely should. And then my girlfriends were like, yes, do it. So that is what came for me. And also, I forgot to include this tidbit, is at the same time, I think it was Jam Gamble's voice in my fucking head. Yeah. Screaming at me to use my own voice. Yes. Use your voice. Use your damn voice. And I was like, well, bitch, I'll go use my voice. So, just a whole hell of a lot of inspiration and things from that day. It affected me.
It really did. It did. Wow.
And it gave me the confidence
right now. That's really that's a beautiful journey that got you here.
It was a journey, because I would never have in a million years, I think, before attending like a podcast, I'd be like, I can't, what? No one wants to listen to me, blah, blah, blah. But going there gave me the energy and buzz and confidence to be like, fuck it. If you don't want to listen to me, don't listen to me.
Yeah, there was a certain energy in the air there that nobody said you couldn't do. There was nothing that we couldn't do that day. No matter what we heard from each other, we were like, get it, girl. Like, I remember during that blue sky, remember we had to turn to each other and tell each other what the blue sky was. And I was like, oh, fuck, no, this is embarrassing and horrifying. This is terrible. And I remember I turned to Ashley, an interior designer, was beside us. And I remember I turned to her and I told her what my blue sky was. And she goes, that sounds awesome. And I was like, okay, we are supportive of this ridiculous idea. And then furthermore, Jam, she was up front and she just called someone out in the audience and goes, what's your blue sky? And this girl, no hesitation, she goes, I want to make enough money to buy a house in Hawaii where I can run my business from. And everyone was just like, yeah, you do.
Fuck yeah. You are. Aloha, bitch.
And then this other girl went to say something, and Jam goes, be louder. I can't hear you. Get louder. And she's like, I can't use this microphone. And Jam like kind of forced her to use the microphone. She was like, get it in your face. This girl says it. And it was that's what I mean with like those little moments. Like that girl using the microphone when at first she didn't feel comfortable using the microphone, that made an impact on me. This is honestly, Laurel, kind of how I operate in like my day to day. I notice these like moments in between the big moments. I notice
That's important.
or like when we, oh no, you were actually, you ditched me for like 20 minutes. You went to go make a flower bouquet while I made like a reel. And I asked like a group of girls, can you guys run through this flower field with me? Yeah, we can. Like there was just everything was possible. We were all yes women that day. So it was transformative in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah. When I got home, whoever was like, "Oh, how was it?" I was like, I'm gonna run for fucking president of the United States. That's where I'm at.
I'm not American, but like I'm definitely gonna run for president.
Which is even more impressive, right? Like that's how fucking powerful I'm feeling. Like I am Canadian and I know absolutely nothing about politics, but I'm gonna fucking run for president. Like that's how I was feeling. So it was an incredible experience. It was also very luxurious and like all the details were perfect. And like Jillian was
super cushy.
So like she was even more real in person. Obviously she was more real. You know what I mean? Like she was just very normal.
I found that I found that she was actually like she is really transparent online and how she shows up for her community online. But I found her in real life dirty as fuck. Like she tells
dirty as fuck.
Like, she has a potty mouth. Mouth.
Yeah, and like her mother-in-law sitting behind me. She made so many sex jokes. She's like, "Sorry, mom."
Yes.
Oh, we had sex in every room in that house. I'm like, "Oh my god, she's right behind me."
Totally. Oh my gosh, yes. And she was also real in the sense that like, of course she had her social mask on, as we all do when we're in any social situation. But she was also very like, fuck, this isn't working. Like I'm not, she didn't have a fake smile plastered on her face throughout this event. She was, remember the archway where we were taking photos, it wasn't in a good spot. And she was like, fuck, like we got to fix this, you guys. Like she wasn't, what's that term? Like being a Pollyanna, being she's not a Pollyanna. I don't know.
I don't know that term. That must be like a PG thing. Okay. I'm just realizing that you have fruit in your mimosa. I actually did not notice that.
Yes, I do.
That's so bougie and I'm here for it. Like, are we, I almost feel the same emotion as when we were drinking a rosé in the Cosmo flower beds, flower fields.
Yes.
That was a moment. It was an awesome, overall fucking positive, expensive experience for me because, you know, it was expensive. But worth it for sure. Now, I'm going to be honest. I don't think I'd go again. And like if she does it next year, I don't think I'll try to get tickets because I feel like I don't want to duplicate it. Like I don't know. I'm just happy with what it was and I just like give someone else a chance. Like I'm good. Like I'm feeling very like I got what I wanted from it and it would be great to go again, right? But like I'm good. I think that was like I just want to leave it. I don't want to wreck that moment. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't want to fuck with that because I got like a real good energy from that and I don't need more. It's okay. I'm going to work with what I have and give someone else a chance to go. Like, are you going to try to see if you can get tickets again? You won fucking tickets, didn't you?
Yeah, I won tickets. So I was going to say, I think it would have been nice if it was 2.5 days instead of 1.5, because I do feel like it did take us a day to settle because everyone was anxious. Everyone was nervous. And I'm sure a lot of people have stories like you and I do, where they just like found their counterpart and stuck together.
We had like a mere 24 hours together.
Yeah. And so I think that, you know, if we had stayed another day, then we perhaps would have like also ventured more together. And, you know, met more women and been more comfortable. That being said, it would have like the tickets were really expensive. And I think if it were 2.5 days, it could be honestly unattainable for so many people because the ticket prices, the way they were, felt unattainable to a lot of people, right? But also I don't think I would go again because like you said, I think I would leave that space for someone else. Like it would feel a little bit greedy to go twice.
So, and I feel like you're never going to top that first. It's never going to be that good. not in a bad way. Like they're going to keep pulling at the stops, but like that was the most authentic inaugural first one that we got to be a part of. And I actually feel like super grateful that we were a part of that. Like that's so cool.
So I feel so grateful, Laurel, totally. Like there still is a super supportive community like on our social media where we are all madly supporting each other in everything we do with the women we connected and that we now follow online.
Yes.
So
yes,
I will forever be grateful for that. I will forever be grateful for that day I got that email that said, you are coming to Academy at the Farm.
Yeah.
I was like, and I was like filming. I was filming another reel. So I actually like caught the moment where I won those tickets. And
oh my God.
Yeah, it was such a trip. And then I also ended up winning like another contest that pertained to that event where I got to have like a Zoom call with Jillian Harris.
Yeah,
after.
I remember you beat me.
Do you remember that?
I fucking remember it. I wrote it in my diary.
Okay.
I do remember. So basically it was a contest. We talked about doing reels, whatever. So this bitch, Dani, and if you know Dani, if you follow her, she's like, I knew this was going to happen. And honestly, I'm glad if anybody, it was you. Because like, she's the queen of reels. And she drops this fucking epic, like Steven Spielberg level shit, stop motion fucking reel of the swag bag. And I just looked at that and I was like, I fucking quit. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. But I was like, you know what? If she doesn't win, I'm going to be even more fucking pissed.
You know what? I did not think I was going to win because I had already won the ticket. So I was like, there's no way that I'm going to win. So I was like, if I have any chance, I need to do something different. Which is
and you did, and it fucking worked. Yeah, it fucking worked. Okay, but it's funny. Yeah, you made out like a bandit with the tickets, the real like, but you deserve it in every way. But I think it's the cosmic pull though goes so far back as to like when the announcement of the Academy even came out, I was like, I feel compelled to try to get tickets. Like I wasn't even really, I'm going to out myself. I wasn't even really on the Jillian Harris train that hard at the time. Before I had kids, actually, I think I was pregnant around the same time she was pregnant with Leo. I don't remember, one of them. So I remember really connecting, like really relating to her because she was posting things that like made sense with my life at the time and whatever. And then I had babies and I was so consumed. And then I had a hard time consuming social media that was like things that were unrealistic for me at the time. So I was like, I can't like, the perfect clean kitchen and the recipes. I was like, I can't handle this. So I had to take a beat. Okay. I was, and just in the last, cause my youngest is 2.5. So I've only just recently sort of gotten out of my postpartum fog, if you will, and started to do things for me and blah, blah, blah. So then I started
Isn't that beautiful when you start to discover yourself again, like welcome her back in and like this a new way, like not the old you, but like this new you.
Yeah, totally. So then that was kind of the same time that I was more capable mentally for consuming stuff on social media of Jillian Harris's nature.
Curated. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was more like, okay, cool. Like I can think about this now. Cause before I was just like survival, keep my kids alive, try to sleep, but I can't. So, once those things came back, it was more relatable. So I was just on the up and up back to getting into Jillian Harris and I'm seeing this retreat and I was like, fuck, I feel like I need to go to that. And so there was that cosmic pull that I was like, I am going to try. I'm compelled to try to get tickets. And I got one. So not to brag, but
and
I did.
Here we are. Like it literally led us to this moment, which is amazing.
It truly did.
Cheers.
Honestly, Torbeer, cheers. So cool. So I just want to, before we end this, I do want to take a minute for our Torbeer chat line. Today's Torbeer chat line segment is brought to you by Shale Ridge Estate Winery and Cidery is located down a rambling country road in Thetford, Ontario. Farm to glass is how they define themselves. All of their wines and ciders are handcrafted on their property using fresh produce either grown by them or sourced from local farms. Join them for a tasting, try out their distinctive swing tables, and enjoy the gorgeous views. Open Thursday to Sunday from 12 to 5 p.m. Visit their website at shaleridgeestatewinery.com to book your reservation and find them on Instagram and Facebook. Their team looks forward to saying, welcome to Shale Ridge. So I have a question from a Catalina. This is for you specifically. Name. I want to know, Catalina wants to know. I would also like to know though, what motivates you to do your art and how do you manage all the daily chores, kids, work, life, relationships, etc.?
How I manage it is I make lists every morning. Like I am a hard itinerary girl. It's so funny because so many people think that I'm such a free spirit, and I'm not really, like, in the sense that I prefer structure. I need routine. I need schedules. That's how I thrived. And that is why I'm the queen of organized chaos. I will schedule in the chaos. It's important to schedule in the
crown.
chaos.
The queen.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. And in terms of motivation to do art as often as I do, I find that I can search for, and I've become quite good at finding inspiration in most things. Like this podcast, I will probably go into my shop later and create a mosaic or a mountain piece from what I felt from this podcast. Like I don't need a tragedy. I don't need to like head up to the mountains and have a beautiful sunset. Although both of those things are wonderful, they don't happen all the time, and they can't happen all the time.
It comes back full circle to the small moments you talk about. It's the small moments that can be the most impactful.
Yes.
And that seems like your vibe is it doesn't have to be the biggest, most powerful moment that transforms you. Right? So that's just your thing. And that's a fucking beautiful characteristic to have. We're having a moment.
We should get a tattoo. You caught that. That's wonderful.
So this little moment, well, you know what? This feels like a big moment to me because I do really appreciate you hanging with me. But you know what? I knew you were going to say yes because like we just have that thing. Like we had 24 hours. No, not even continuous. Okay. It was like 2 hours one night, like 5 the next, whatever. So very minimal. But like when you know. And we just need to make a trip or something. It's got to happen because the world, imagine us being in the same room for like longer than a day. Oh, fuck. We would fuck shit right up.
Buckle up, baby.
I have one more. Let's take it. So this one is from Nick. What was something you achieved in 2022 and what is a big goal for 23? I mean, we did talk a lot about your accomplishments, but like maybe the one that now getting back into the big moments.
Okay, one of my biggest moments of 2022 was that Cruz is now like he got dressed on his own to go outside for the winter. And I remember the day specifically. I was like, oh my gosh, the kid just got his own snowsuit on. I'm just saying, sometimes it's not getting your art in Lululemon or going to meet Jillian Harris. Sometimes it's seeing your fucking kid put their own snowsuit on and you're just like, I think my life just changed. That was literally just the first thing that came to mind when you said that.
And you know what? I'm going to echo that because of all like the professional and fun, whatever things I've done. Do you know what? That hits. That makes me think of the fact that my daughter started shitting in a toilet this year. Okay.
Oh my God, congratulations.
Thank you so much. So yeah, that's a big fucking deal. Yeah. And we should be proud of those moments.
Yeah, man.
So I don't know if that's what Nick was looking for, but that's what they're going to get. Now,
that's what you're getting.
For 2023, what's happening? What's on the horizon? What do we got? What do you like?
Well, yeah, I've actually I think that North Soul is going to continue on the trajectory it is, but I think I'll also be adding quite a few other elements because I am a yes woman. Like Yes Man with Jim Carrey is one of my favorite movies. Like that inspires me all the time. I love Jim Carrey. Yep. Yes, me too. And so I feel like, like even just doing this podcast, starting the year out this way, I've got like a really fun window painting project that I'm doing next month. I've actually got a really fun partnership coming up with Poppy and Peonies. Stay tuned. And
shit.
Yeah, so I feel like 2023 is going to be a year of natural growth. Actually, I'm going to leave you with this thought. This is a great thought to be left with.
Okay,
during that
I'm
Zoom
ready.
Call, during that Zoom call that I had with Jillian Harris, we were able to talk for like 45 minutes. Wow. And it was right before the market I did in November. So I had created about 50 art pieces in about 30 days. I was exhausted, but our mindset, I know you have a problem sitting still like I do, even when we know we need to. It's really difficult to not feel productive, quote unquote.
Yeah. It's a problem.
And it's a problem. So I was exhausted and I'm talking to her and I'm showing her my art pieces and I'm like, what do I do next? Like, I need to, like, where do I grow from here? And she leans into the camera and she goes, you did good. You've done enough. You've done enough. And I was like, what? And she goes, we always think that we constantly need to grow. We constantly need to like set these big goals all the time. She was like, you've done enough. Like, you're doing it. Just breathe. Let things come organically right now. You don't need to push growth. You don't need to push it. And I was like, what? Like, it seemed like such a foreign concept to me. And it did kind of like shapeshift my thinking. So that's really kind of what I've been doing lately, is although I like love pursuing goals, in 2023, I would also like to enjoy where I'm at and flow, be a little bit more fluid in what's coming to me. I'm still going to be loud about it. I'm still going to be vulnerable about it, but I'm also going to see what naturally comes and then fucking crush it when it does. When preparation
and then fucking crush it. Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to have to marinate in that one for a bit. Cause that's good. Yeah. That's some good shit. Jillian, fucking Jilly does it again. Yeah. Another quote from the event was her saying, just fucking do it. And I'm like, yep, that's my new mantra. Just fucking do it. Just fucking do it. Like what?
And her success has fuck all to do with your success.
Exactly. Yes, that's right. Yeah. It's right. We're all in our own path, beating our own drum. There's space for all of us. And we have to just fight that societal concept in our brains that we are against each other. I think that's a big deal, like you mentioned. So we just got to keep supporting each other. And holy fuck, like I feel like, again, I'm gonna run for president, like, and you can be my vice president if you're into it. So holy shit. I mean, I gotta take that quote for right now, because I'm like feeling buzzing from just talking to you, from like, our cosmic attraction here, that I'm like, fuck, what's next?
I'm feeling buzzing from the mimosas.
Yeah, that too. But I have to take your new Jillian Harris quote of it's like, just chill, so I don't need, I'm good. I'm just gonna like enjoy and be proud of what we're doing right here. So well, shit, I'm feeling good. How are you feeling?
So great. Thank you so much. Good. This was such a great conversation.
You lift me up. It's true. It's one of those, if you find someone that hit that certain area of you, that like that space inside of you that, I don't know, maybe we suppress because insecurity or imposter syndrome, but like I just instinctively know, like you kind of echo how I feel, and I feel safe with you. So I feel like we need to normalize that conversation a little more. But yeah,
I love that.
This was a fucking treat. I am going to link your social media handles and your website in the show notes.
Yes, come and hang out with me on Norso Studios. I post a lot of art. Like you said, I've got lots of stuff going on, right, between the woodworking and the window painting, the calligraphy, and I post a lot of stuff too, just about like connecting with each other in terms of like mostly being a mom. That's a big theme for me. So if you are also a mess, come play.
Perfect. And that's another reason why we're friends. It has been lovely talking to you. And thank you so much for being here today. And I can't wait to talk to you again.
Thank you for seeing me. We'll talk soon.
Talk soon. Thanks for listening to the Chorbier Chats podcast. You can find more information related to this episode at the show notes on our website, isabardacres.com/chorbierchats. And don't forget to subscribe to the Chorbier Chats podcast on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube.